I raise this grievance with the Minister for Transport, although note and thank the Minister for Mines for representing the Minister for Transport today in the chamber, regarding the concerns, as I mentioned, of residents living near the Rawlins Street laydown area in Glendalough. These residents are experiencing ongoing dust and noise impacts from construction activity on a main road site adjacent to their homes. Residents have reported persistent dust dispersion from the site entering their homes at a high level of after-hours truck and construction activity, all of which they say is affecting their health and daily living conditions. They have genuine grievances, Mr Speaker. While residents have been working constructively with the City of Stirling, and the Minister will be familiar with the great work of the City of Stirling to address these impacts, the City has been clear that its powers are limited as the laydown site is owned by Main Roads and is being used by a contractor to Western Power undertaking local infrastructure works. Therefore, access arrangements, which also involve land owned by the Department of Communities, and so as a result, many of the decisions about how the site operates sit with state agencies. So to be clear, it is a laydown site that is owned by Main Roads, it is being used by a contractor to Western Power, and access arrangements also involve part of the land being owned by the Department of Communities, state agencies. And it has provided some difficulty in getting to the source of responsibility for the laydown area. Now, the City has confirmed that there is currently no approved noise management plan in place which permits night works at this site. And despite residents providing video evidence of activity occurring outside of standard hours, it is very clear that work does continue outside standard hours. The City has also escalated concerns about asbestos and contamination risks to the relevant state landowners and requested information about procedures for identifying and handling asbestos-containing materials. The City of Stirling have also been good enough to advocate for independent dust and noise monitoring at the site boundary and recommended the installation of a stronger physical barrier to reduce dust and noise impacts on nearby homes. But again, because this is a state-managed project on Crown land, the City cannot compel state agencies or contractors to implement these measures. Now, that is not especially fair for the residents who live very nearby. I went there to the site on Saturday morning, February 21, and met with around 40 residents who said they can't use their gardens, Mr Speaker, they can't hang washing outside, they can't sleep through the night without interruption. And for those who have health and in particular respiratory concerns, this activity has been particularly problematic to their health. Residents have put forward several practical recommendations that they believe represent the minimum steps required to address the situation. These have included, but have not been limited to, testing materials brought onto the site for asbestos and contaminants, implementing effective dust suppression measures, restricting noise-generating work to standard hours, which wouldn't seem too much to ask, considering the installation of a physical barrier, improving communication with residents and establishing a clear plan for site closure and rehabilitation, none of which they have been able to elicit thus far. These residents' concerns are real. They've all emailed me, they've all called the electorate office, I've been down and spoken to them where they live. Their concerns are real, they are genuine, and they do need to be taken seriously. The residents believe these practical measures would protect their health and restore confidence that the impacts of this site are being properly managed. And so I asked the Minister representing the Minister for Transport to clarify what steps can be taken to ensure that effective dust suppression and noise controls at the Rawlins Street site, and what further actions can be taken to address the residents' lifestyle and well-being concerns. This is a beautiful part of the Churchlands electorate, the Glendalough area. And the people who live here some years ago decided to be part of the housing solution for Western Australia. They have moved into one of the densified areas of the electorate of Churchlands. They have downsized in many cases, and they have come here for the lifestyle opportunities, the proximity to the city, all of the great things that Glendalough offers. But they are doing it particularly tough. The conditions have made life tough, in many cases unbearable for where they live. And I do ask that the government and the minister representing the minister turn their attention to what remedies can be put in place to help these people who have asked me to ask you to raise their genuine grievances in the Parliament of Western Australia. And I, on behalf of them, look forward to your response. Thank you.
Thank you, Member for Churchlands. The Leader of the House, Speaker. On behalf of the Minister for Transport.
Thank you, Speaker, and I would like to thank the member for the grievance today. I am responding on behalf of the Minister for Transport, and I think the member will know she's, I think, doing a keynote speech at our industry breakfast this morning. I also am very happy to do it as someone who represented the suburb of Glendalough for 12 years as an Osborne Ward councillor of the City of Stirling. And you are right, it's a lovely part of the world. The state government has recently been made aware of dust and noise concerns raised by those residents in Glendalough, and I want to make it clear at the outset that those concerns have been taken seriously, and they do relate to a parcel of land adjacent to the Mitchell Freeway and Power Street. That land is predominantly owned by Main Roads, with portion owned by the Department of Communities and Housing. The land is earmarked by Main Roads for future works, and it is not a new site. It has been used as a laydown area and stockpile area since 2019 to support the delivery of major infrastructure works, including the Smart Freeway project and other important transport-related activity. I'm advised, Mr Speaker, that the residential properties adjacent to this land and those residents now most directly impacted were established from around 2021, with the area being steadily occupied since that time. It's also important to put clearly on the record that this laydown area is not the subject of a commercial lease arrangement. The site is currently occupied by Western Power contractors to facilitate essential works being carried out on behalf of the City of Stirling and the City of Vincent. These are necessary works to support critical community infrastructure and network operations. Given the significance of the project and the broader benefit to the community, the state government has allowed Western Power contractors to use the site under a land permit system. The permit isn't open-ended, it does contain conditions. One of those conditions make it clear that the permit holder is responsible for ensuring that the land is suitable for the approved purpose and for obtaining and complying with all relevant statutory approvals for the use of that land. In plain terms, Mr Speaker, that means a contractor must operate within the relevant safety, health and environmental laws. It also means a contractor must obtain any necessary approvals from the relevant regulatory authorities, including the City of Stirling, where required. So, while there has been concern raised, there are also a clear regulatory framework in place, clear permit conditions in place, and clear responsibilities on the contractor in relation to how the site is used. I'm advised that some night shift work has been required to ensure that the Western Power project does not adversely impact the road network during peak daylight hours. This is a practical operational reality. Where works interfere with busy roads and key traffic corridors, and we know Power Street is one of those, there are times where activity has to be staged in a way that reduces disruption to the broader community. In this case, the laydown area has mainly been used between 6:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. for pre-start activities, and then again between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. to facilitate handover to the day shift. That said, Mr Speaker, we do understand that even limited activity outside standard hours can be disrupted for nearby residents, particularly where people are living in relatively close proximity to the work sites and storage areas. That is why I'm advised that the contractor has now ceased night work until the end of April 2026, with the broader project due for completion in June 2026. This is an important point. Action has been taken, adjustments have been made. This is not a case of concerns being ignored, it is a case of concerns being heard and practical responses being implemented. In addition, the removal of Main Road's stockpile of drainage infrastructure has commenced and is expected to be completed by next week. The state government has also been actively working in recent weeks to address the concerns raised by residents. Main Roads and WorkSafe WA have both inspected the site. I'm advised those inspections did not identify deficiencies in dust control measures or noise management measures currently in place. More importantly, and because this has understandably caused some anxiety in the local community, there is no evidence of asbestos on site. It is also important, Mr Speaker, to set out the relevant responsibilities of the different agencies, because sometimes these matters can be clouded by confusion about who regulates what. The Department of Water and Environmental Regulation is responsible for dust complaints and any enforcement action in relation to dust. Local governments are responsible for noise management. Those are the statutory arrangements. But despite that division of responsibility, Main Roads and the state government have not stood back and pointed elsewhere. We have remained engaged with the issue and have inspected the site and have worked with the contractor to ensure additional steps are taken. I'm advised that the contractor now has implemented further dust suppression measures over and above those already in place. This includes the installation of sprinklers and additional screening on fencing. In addition, asphalt profiling has placed in the vehicle movement area to reduce the risk of dust generation from site traffic. And I'm advised that an eco-friendly dust suppression product is to be applied to the occupied site and surrounding areas this weekend. I also want to acknowledge, Mr Speaker, that the Transport Minister has been working closely with one of our local members, the Honourable Dan Caddy MLC, on this matter as concerns have been raised. That engagement has been important in ensuring local issues were elevated quickly and the relevant agencies remain focused on practical solutions. The Honourable Dan Caddy MLC has also been active in conveying community concerns, and the Minister's office has been working to make sure those concerns were heard by Main Roads and the relevant parties. My message to the residents is simple, that thanks to early action from the Honourable Dan Caddy, your concerns have been heard and the site has been inspected. There is no evidence of asbestos. No deficiencies were identified by Main Roads or WorkSafe WA in the inspections undertaken. Night work has ceased for a period. Additional dust suppression measures have been implemented. Stockpile drainage materials are being cleared and the project itself is due to be completed in June 2026. So, the message to local residents is this: their concerns have not been ignored, the matter is being actively managed and additional mitigation measures are being put in place. And the message to the House is that this government will continue to ensure essential infrastructure and utility works can proceed, but they can proceed in a way that is consistent with regulatory requirements and responsive to legitimate community concerns. That is a balanced approach, and that is a responsible approach, and that is exactly what is occurring here.